What I decided to do on this one is, because it had so much roughness to this gouge, is I took my 3000 grit sanding disc and just by hand and a little bit of water, I smoothed out as much of the edges as I can. Now I'm gonna buff it, then we'll see what is remaining, and then I'll apply some touch-up paint and see if I can't get a better result. But you can tell that I've created this dull area from sanding. So now I want to buff out the sanding marks and then proceed to try some touch-up paint. And because I want to cut to the chase, this is hopefully within these next few videos, guys, you're going to realize that the rotary buffer really can save a lot of time. Use pad, I don't have to overthink it. This is not, you know, high level performance. This is just cut to the chase, get the job done, make the dealer happy, make the customer happy. This is all the polish I'm using, basically like 3 to 4 little drops. So sanding marks are gone. We still have a gouge. It still looks like crap. But by the time I put some paint on it, maybe I can get it to look a little less like crap. What I'm gonna do is wipe off the polish. I've got my prep all, which is going to remove any trace waxes, silicones, polish. It essentially chemically prepares the area to receive touch-up paint. Now I whip out my color palette. There's something like, I don't know, 250 base colors. And it's got all these combinations, like to make this blue here. You do 12 parts blue number 4 to 8 parts blue number 5. Will create this exact blue progressively down. So what you do is you just match it up to the best silver, in this case, that I can. Now this lighting sucks, so once again, you've really got to be like a chameleon. You've got to be able to adapt to your surroundings, the weather conditions, whatever. So I hold up the best silver palette that I can that matches the tone of the silver. So for example, I could pick like a more blue silver that does not match the tone, even though it's still silver. This matches the tone and it is silver. See the difference in the silvers? So there's lots of what you could call silvers, from like gray silver to like a bluish, a different kind of gray to a more bluish silver. So far what my eyes are picking up as I'm putting it down is this silver palette here. Now I go along and pick out, so Joel, and it's difficult because every time you change lighting directions with the metallic, it's going to change appearances on you. And I think the directions, like the little like silly instruction manual says, if you have to default, I think it says to default to a darker shade versus a lighter shade. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to try a silver number 2. Because to me it's pretty close. And on something like this, I already know it's not going to be perfect. And I will tell you exactly what I tell my customers. For example, because so many people have different ideas and concepts of what this is going to look like when you use touch-up paint. They think that you're going to either magically blend it in, it's going to look perfect, or that you're going to sit here and finesse it for like 5 hours, float some paint into there, build it up, then wet sand it flat, then buff it, and it will magically blend into the surrounding areas. Well, you know what that's the equivalent of? And this is what I do with my customers. I take a door. These panels are identical in color. You see this line here? Pretend that this area was the scratch. And now I've just filled in the scratch area perfectly with the color that matches identical to that. But you see this line? Pretend that I was able to butt that line exactly as tight as possible up to that line. You would still see a line, right? Doesn't matter how close the paint is, doesn't matter if it is exact, you're still gonna see a line no matter what. There's just no way to kind of blend it in. So people be like, oh, well, can't you feather it in? Well, that's where Body Shop comes in. And they could do that with an air gun. But with touch-up paint, that's not what's gonna happen. So that's the limitation of touch-up paint. So that concept that I just showed you is the same concept here. So no matter how precisely I am able to fill this in, there's still gonna be what's called a line of demarcation. You will see exactly where the paint butts up to the original paint. There's no way to feather it in. I do not have, I could take an air or a rattle can of clear coat and spray it over it, but the point of that, or the problem with that, is that eventually you will see exactly as it ages where that line of demarcation is. So instead of it being here, now it's spread out way over here, which then leads to like, well, oh, you could just do the whole panel. It's like, okay, now we've just gone into the world of unrealistic. Remember, it's a spot treatment. We're trying to just camouflage it permanently so that at normal viewing distances, it just doesn't jump out at you. You have to go hunting for it. That's what we're trying to accomplish. Like everything else in life, you've got your trade-offs, the pros and cons, the cost-benefit analysis. Label it in whatever way makes sense into your little mind. Did I just say little? I think I just insulted my audience. Okay, I wasn't referring to you. I was referring to those other guys out there. All of you have big minds. I got my little readers on, so I'm magnifying the area. This paint really should be thinned down a little bit. It's a little bit on the thick side, and I can tell it's going on too dark for my likings. Also, the problem with paint period is that there's this cool thing in life called gravity. Everything virtually is affected by it. So what happens is two things: is the paint wants to sag because it's being pulled down by gravity, gravitational pull. Also, the metallic flakes within the paint want to be pulled down by gravity. So you got a couple things working against you. So you can finesse this where it looks cool or good, but then the flakes all congregate at the bottom. And now at first when you put it on, you're like, oh yeah, that looks good. And then suddenly it doesn't look so good because so what I do is I do this little number, and that kind of brushes off the darker metallic. Are you looking at that, Joel?
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense, what I'm explaining? Did you see how it kind of brushed away the darkness to it? And that's where you literally just have to like finesse this and figure out that winning balance. Now I'm obviously going way outside the edges, but I'm doing it with more of a strategy than whoever did it the first time. And you literally just have to finesse. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to clean up my mess around the edges. And I think when all is said and done, it will be an improvement. So I'm going to take my acetone and I'm going to catch the lighting just right. And I'm going to basically just finesse the edges. I could even go over it ever so gently. But the problem is you start revealing the bigger stuff underneath. So now I'm gonna let this dry. Dry, come on, dry. And then I'm gonna hit it with a buffer, kind of, for lack of a better description, blend it, smooth it out. And based on what I'm seeing in real life, which you guys aren't privy to, I think it will be an improvement. How about that? You can rate it however you want. I have no idea how well it's going to show up on camera. Once again, see how it dramatically changes appearance based on the lighting. And that, folks, welcome to real life. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go work on some other scratches in the meantime and come back. The paint has dried enough. Okay, this is where Darren's gonna be really, really honest. I actually already polished this, but I forgot to turn the damn camera on. So I'm gonna pretend to polish this. See how good it looks? Okay, so here's our finished product. Now, based on the lighting in which you observe this scratch, will determine how good it does or does not appear. Now the consensus is around here because I've asked Joel, what conclusion did you come to on this scratch as far as improvement? You can label it however you would like.
I'd say it's about 50% better.
Okay, so that's, I don't know, I'm terrible with numbers. So 50% better. That's not really the same as twice as better, is it? Because that would be like 100% better.
Yeah. I'd say
see, I suck at math. Anyhow, you guys could be the judge. Here it is. I'm going to show it in different lighting. Before, if you want to rewind the video to the before shot, I know it looks better. It's just, it's so subjective as to how you're going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 or percentage, whether I've just improved it to a level 7, 6, 8. You pick your number. I'm just trying to capture in different lightings. And this is what's tricky, is based on the lighting, it will reveal different nuances of the repair job. And that's what's tough if you're doing this professionally. In trying to manage a customer's expectations, how do you manage something like this that is literally like a moving target? Because every time they change position or perspective, your repair job will appear differently. That's a tough balance act, let me tell you. But if you learn how to talk and communicate and manage expectations, you can make pretty good money.